going on, guys? Just taking a break from sanding this fine 56 Chevy. Over the last year, it's been a wild ride on this channel. I've had a pile of people ask me a bunch of questions about the channel, about YouTube in general and stuff like that, and I thought, not that I'm an expert in anything, like literally nothing, but I thought I'd give my, not so much advice, but my experience, and if it helps you guys out, which a lot of you guys seem to say it does, I'm willing to help, and I'd love to pass on whatever small amount of knowledge I have. So, yeah, I've been writing down on my phone every time I kind of think of something that I do or I think could be helpful, and I've got a few little things, so I thought maybe in between sanding this car, it's take a little break, which isn't, it's not that hard to twist my arm and stop sanding, right? So I figured I'd go over a few things and maybe get something going in the comments, and if it turns into something great, and we could carry on with more questions or ideas or whatever it may be, we can kind of go from there. Anyways, do me a favor right now, click that subscribe button, turn on the bell, and we'll get started. So about a year ago, I did a video on the blue 57 Chevy that originally kind of got me some notoriety on YouTube, and I'm sure a lot of you guys ended up finding the channel from that. That's Danielle's car, my girlfriend. So it was a four-door 57 Chevy, which I kind of built as a driver for her, so I went through it. Small block Chevy, just generic drum brakes. And it was November, I was kind of bored, didn't really have a project to do, so I thought, I'm going to two-door swap this thing. I've done one before, and I decided to have at it. And so I went through the whole program, and in the end, I did a little video explaining how that car kind of paid for itself on YouTube based on the views. And a lot of you guys seem to like that, so I don't ever try and hide how much money I'm making, so we can always go over that if that's ever a question. Because ultimately, you guys are the ones watching, and YouTube's the one paying, and that's kind of how it works. So a lot of people have asked, they want to start a YouTube channel, and you know what? I was that guy for probably 10 years. Oh, I should start a YouTube channel. I should start. And I never did, and you bought the camera, and you did something, and you got the footage, and never actually followed through. And that's been my experience. I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate. And you know what? I'll tell you my story of how I got to be on YouTube and doing it consistently. And now it's to the point where talking to this camera like this, looking at myself in a little viewfinder, doesn't feel ridiculous. And I don't mind the sound of my own voice and stuff like that, which I'm sure that's a big hold up for a lot of you guys, because it was for me. I wasn't a born superstar like I know you guys are. So what I started doing about probably 4 or 5 years ago is I wanted to start a Instagram account to take pictures of all the cars I was going through, because I've always been fixing up cars, flipping them, driving them, stupid stuff like that. And Mur, my old man, he would take pictures of them, but of course it was never enough, and you'd kind of forget what you've done, and I'm at the point now where I've been doing it for close to 20 years, and you forget you own cars, you forget you had cars, you forget what those cars were all about. And Mur's actually idea at the time was start a Google Drive, just take pictures and upload to Google Drive. Luckily, I wasn't smart enough to accomplish that, and I started putting it up on Instagram. So I started putting these pictures up on Instagram of me working in this little garage. We started off just on it was a 1980, I think, Chevy short box, 2-wheel drive, put a big block in it, did all the usuals, the floors, the rockers, everything those trucks need. Well, people started kind of liking it and appreciating it and all those things, and I built the car and got a bit of a following, and then after that I bought my Nova, 71 Nova. I wish I would have kept that short box Chevy truck, but what are you going to do? So I bought that Nova, I started doing that, and I probably within the first year got to about 10,000 subscribers or followers, whatever you want to call it, on Instagram. And about probably 2 years in or so like that, it got to the point where people were asking, we want to see more, we want to see videos, we want to see this, we want to see that. So I was doing little stories and all that sort of stuff, but ultimately the big push was YouTube. And I thought, okay, well, let's try YouTube. So I bought my 55 Chevy 4-door, and I was going to convert it to a 2-door. And I was doing a video here and there. It wasn't really consistent or nothing for probably 8 months or so. And I do one video a week, maybe every 2 weeks and stuff. And maybe I had 1,000 people watching, which is more than I ever thought. And ultimately, at this point still, it was just keeping track of my own projects. I never thought it would go anything further. Never thought it would get to the point it is today. And so I was doing that. And I did that, yada, 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 and then, I said about a year in, or maybe 8 months in, I said, oh, we're going to work on Danny's car and stuff, and I thought, okay. I fixed it up on the channel, did things, it did okay, got some views, it was no big deal. I think I had been monetized at that point, and maybe making $100 a month or something like that. It wasn't paying any bills. It was still just for myself and for fun. And then all of a sudden that two-door video came out, and it took off from there, and it's been a wild ride since. Been about just over a year now. So that's how I kind of tippy-toed my way in. And I think a lot, you got to realize, if you're going to go out there and buy all the equipment and do all these things, which I just don't recommend, I think just use your phone, or, I love GoPros. Another question people ask is what I use, and I figure I'd do a little segment on that as well. But just don't be discouraged. Take your time, get into it however it may be. Don't expect your first video to be a viral video where you're going to make a bunch of money and all those things. And honestly, like I said, here we are, whatever it is, 2, 3, 4 years in. The suffer and the stress and the screwing around, your parents always tell you it builds character. Well, it built character, and you get kind of used to it, and you appreciate it a little more. I think if you did one video and immediately went viral, you'd be like, oh, that's awesome, and everything goes great. But then now, you don't know what the heck you did, or what you were doing, or what works or what doesn't work. And then you're kind of, I almost think you're further behind. So the old work 10 years to be an overnight success, I think that really holds true for this. So that's kind of my story of how we got into the YouTube and got it kind of started and stuff. And I gotta say, Danielle has been there the whole time, very accepting of it and stuff like that. So having someone to support you and all that off the bat is absolutely key, whether it's friends, family, whatever it is. I lucked out. I got Danielle, I got my old man, I got my mom and everything. They're super cool of it, and they understand that. Right now I got cars at Murr's house and stuff like that. Danielle's parked on the street since for the last 5 years. So having people that are, whether or not they actually tell you good job and pats on the back and all those things, but they're just accepting of the addiction you have around you is pretty key. And if you don't have that, you're destined for failure. The other thing I kind of touched on real quick, you have to be, obviously my thing is cars. I like 50s, 60s, 70s kind of stuff. Not to say I won't do anything else. I'm open to anything, and I probably will as it goes. But you got to be addicted to it. So again, in this thing, I'm addicted to cars. I've tried quitting old cars. I've tried woodworking, like kind of forging metal stuff. Was in bike riding, dirt bikes, snowmobiles, ATVs. I've had it all, done it all. It wasn't for me. I just didn't like it. I wanted to be in the garage. I love it in the garage. It's 11:30 on a Thursday night right now, and waiting for body filler to dry so I can keep sanding before I probably go and have a peanut butter sandwich and go to bed. I just love these old cars. And if you're not passionate about it, whatever it may be, I don't care if it's a stamp collecting channel, I don't think you'll go very far. If it's fake, you guys know if it's fake. And I think by this point you know it ain't fake. I love this. This is what it is. This isn't made for TV. This is Dan and Danielle's crazy life of what we do. So my advice there is, if you want to have step one, people around you got to be with you. And whatever you're doing, you have to be 100% passionate about it, and it comes first. Like, for me, hot rods comes so high up on the list, it's ridiculous. I've missed payments, I've missed all sorts of things to go look at a car, buy a car, 10, 11 o'clock at night, or you're in bed, well, there's a deal popped up, friend of a friend, and you got to have cash in your dresser drawer, and you're out there going to get it. And I've done that many times. So it's like a drug addiction. So yeah, I'm going to do a little bit of sanding, and we'll come back with some more stupid stuff I wrote down on my phone. Alright, so now you decided you're going to go for it. You're addicted to this stuff. You're going to make it happen. Well, I'm all for it. I say go for it. The amount of people I've told to start a YouTube channel is everybody who's ever asked me. I firmly believe anybody can do it. I have no more skills than anybody, probably a lot less. Whether it's the addiction to old hot rods or I'm just not that bright, anybody can do it. And you got to be in it for the right reasons. Again, I can't stress enough. I think if you're trying to do it to be famous, make money, get free, we'll talk cars, get free parts, whatever it may be, I think you're in it for the wrong reasons. if you're just doing it because you love it, it becomes organic. That's what people want to see. That's what I would want to see. You know, you don't want to see the rich guy get richer. You don't want to see a monopoly guy with 3 bags of money. 2 bags is enough, right? So that's kind of that. That's how that works. And the reason you gotta love it so much and be doing it for all these things, because even on my absolute best month of revenue I've ever made and stuff like that, which I don't want to sound complaining because I can't believe I make 1 penny off of it. I will always make more money at a regular day job or work at McDonald's or whatever it is, because the sheer number of hours, you just can't fathom it. Like, yes, the check you get at the end of the month is fantastic. And, oh, how is this even possible? How is this going in my bank account from doing something I love? And that's the attitude you have to have. If you try and go out there and go, well, I make 25 bucks an hour at my day job, I should make the same on YouTube. Maybe. But that's not the way I've interpreted it. A good rule of thumb I read a while ago, and I don't know if it rates everybody on YouTube or not, but it's pretty close to me. Every minute of footage is about 1 hour of work. Now, obviously the video I'm making right now is not that, because it's kind of a quick few takes, and I'm going to edit it together, and we'll render it and put it up, and that's the end of it. There's no music, there's no time-lapse, there's no nothing. But you guys, if you're subscribed to the channel, you watch the channel, which I hope you are, you've seen so much time-lapse. Like this car right here, for instance, I'm keeping track of, and I'm rounding, I don't know, 120, 130 hours of physically working on the car itself. Then there's the screw around of you're running around getting parts, going to get body filler, paint, whatever, ordering parts online, all that. Then there's downloading it to your computer, there's editing it, there's putting music behind it, there's rendering it, there's uploading it to YouTube. And then once it's up on YouTube, I read every comment and I try and answer them or like them or do whatever I can. And then there's that. So it's a lot more work than just working on the car itself. So it doesn't matter what it may be, what the hobby is, it starts to feel like a bit of a job. So you gotta love it, you know, like you think all those guys are like football players or whatever it may be. They love what they're doing and they're making a bunch of money doing it. You can't forget they busted their ass and they sacrifice so much. I mean, again, it's like I said, it's midnight. Danielle's inside in bed probably with the dogs. I'm still out here screwing around. I got from work, give her a high five, had some supper, and I was out here. So you give up that time and all those things. And I'm very lucky like that. Like I said, Danielle's overly supportive. I don't have any kids. I don't have any dependents. I don't have any. I know a lot of you guys do. And that does suck up your time. I have a day job, obviously, and I work about 50 hours a week. And then, you know, if you put up 2 YouTube videos a week, maybe let's just say, that's easily another 40 hours spent between the garage and editing and all that sort of stuff. So it is a ginormous time suck. You know, we've given up. We don't travel. We don't do a lot of things. Just love old hot rods. It doesn't matter what it may be. So that, once you get that all the way, then you're into the equipment and stuff like that, which, I mean, I'll give you a quick, what I use. They're GoPro cameras. Let's grab one here. Like, I got about 5 of these. That's all it is. This is a GoPro 8. I'm using a GoPro 9 to film this right now. I actually just got it. These things are about, when they're new, they're $400 or $500 Canadian. I don't know if they are US. So, I mean, they ain't cheap, but I find they're the easiest to use for a dummy like me. I've tried a DSLR, I've tried a few things like that. I couldn't figure out there's too many buttons. This one, there's one button on top, and it just works. I feel like it sounds good and all that, so I can't complain. Right now, you're sitting on a $19 tripod I got from Amazon. I mean, that's it. When we do our live streams, or even in the videos, depending on what I'm doing, I'll use my cell phone. And that's it. Just hold it sideways. That's all you gotta do, right? Every one of my thumbnails is taken with my phone. Like, that's it. Just a Samsung phone, nothing special. You don't need to put a lot of time or money or anything like that into it. My advice, the only one thing people have, they will not let up on is sound. Try and have good sound. So if you're out in the outside and it's windy out, I've kiboshed so much footage. I just think it goes with nobody likes that, and that's it. I mean, pretty simple stuff. Again, people have asked me for shout outs and stuff like that, and I've done lots to a lot of great channels, a lot of great guys. I love helping out local guys and stuff like that, and I've been helped out as well. I can't thank enough people there. and I think it's a big circle. But you know what? You got to look for good stuff, and the actual amount of subscribers and views and all that's irrelevant. It's are they good people? Are they working hard and all that? And someone will notice, and it will take off. If you're putting out good stuff, you can't lose. My buddy Peg over at Zip Ties and Bias Blast said before I was talking to him before we had kind of done anything and gotten kind of up there in views and stuff like that, and he says it's like having a car trailer. If you have good content, people will come watch. If you got a car trailer, people will come borrow it. That's just the way she goes. And he's 100% right. You just got to kind of look at it that way. So, yeah, that's that. That's, I think, to the point where you're going to get started, get doing it, get over the hump, get over the being embarrassed behind the camera and all those things. If you're shy, but you want to be on YouTube, they don't go together. You either got to overcome one or give up on it and carry on, but it's no big deal. So, yeah. The last thing I want to talk about is the analytics, because I do think that is important when it comes to actually once the video goes up. And then I think that's it. If you guys have questions or concerns or comments, by all means, leave a comment below. I can try and answer them. And I always put my email on every one of the descriptions or somewhere on the page. Again, I'm not computer savvy, but shoot me an email. I can try and answer a question or help you guys out, because I think you got to keep it going. My big passion, obviously, is getting the next generation into it, and that's great. Maybe I won't get the next kid into it. Maybe you will. And if you can start a channel and get someone into it, by all means, that's all for me. We gotta keep these old hot rods on the road. All right, last thing I want to talk about, and I'm sure you guys want to know about it most, is some of the analytics from YouTube and how it works. Now, there's always the algorithms and all that stuff. I don't understand any of it. I've tried looking at it. I've tried figuring it out. I don't know what works and what doesn't work. I film what I do and I edit it the best I can. I put it up there, and sometimes it goes great and other times it goes terrible. And YouTube ain't shy to let you know. They'll let you know if your video is number 1 or number 10 in the last 10 videos you've done. And it's a roller coaster. Every time you put a video out there, you're going, yes, or oh. And it doesn't make any sense. That's just the way it goes. Many videos I put up, I'm like, whatever. It's not a throwaway video, but it's something that's kind of, I think tedious or boring or whatever, and it does great. Other times you think, oh, people are going to love this. No, not so much. And it just doesn't make any sense. And, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm sure there's people out there that it makes a lot of sense to. But that's that. So I look at the analytics, who watches, when they watch, where they watch from, and all that, which is important. Because ultimately you're trying to, make a little bit of sense out of it, and who your audience is, age group, and stuff like that. No bones about it. Probably a lot of you guys are older dudes watching this, which is fantastic. But I'm not trying to cater to 20-year-old girls. So maybe you guys haven't noticed, I don't put a lot of effort into my appearance. But whatever. So that's that. You can always look at those things, and that is open to anybody right off the bat for YouTube. So you can figure those things out and Google all that and figure all those things out, which is fantastic. Dollars. Everyone always wants to know how much money you make and stuff like that. So it varies. And if this is the reason you're getting into YouTube, it's the wrong reason, but I'll tell you anyways. The way YouTube works, they pay you per 1,000 views. So for every 1,000 views, here's how much you make based on the ad revenue. Now that varies, anywhere from $2 to $15 per 1,000 views, depending on who and what watches. My experience, it's not on the high side. It's probably in the $5 range. So you can do the math right there for a lot of people. So in the $5 to $7 range, what exactly does your content generate per 1,000 views? So if you have something with 10,000 views, there you go. Pretty simple stuff. That's the way that works. And I think there's been other YouTubers out there who've kind of showed that, and it varies, obviously, and stuff. And there's paid promotions and all those things, which you can also do, but I'm by no means big enough to accomplish those things. Maybe one day we'll not be working in a little 2-car garage with Amazon lighting and a $500 camera, which was all the money in the world to me at the time. Finally, the big thing that keeps you going, it's kept me going and all that, is all you guys watching. The comments are overwhelmingly positive, which I'm shocked at. I still am. I always thought, oh God, it's the internet. but everyone's so supportive about what they're doing. Oh, sorry. The director of photography there, or the gopher, whatever they call him, really dropped the ball on this scene. Ugh. They're gonna hear about that after this shoot. So the comments have been just fantastic, and the other thing is, you guys are great at showing me other ways of doing things after I've done it wrong, which I crack up, which I love. And but honestly, it's positive, and for myself, now everything I do is going out there. Not that I was doing anything wrong before, but I was a bit of a hack. I still am a hack. But now it's like, oh yeah, I should probably do it this way or whatever it is, because it's out there for the world to see forever, on this car forever. So it holds me to a higher standard. So believe it or not, this is me trying, even though some of it's pretty rough. And that's great. The one side is you got to have some thick skin, because you know what? That one comment will get to you sometimes. I've been in customer service my whole life, so it's not terrible. I've been called every name there is, and it doesn't really bother me, but I know some people, the comments gets to them. And there'll be 300, 400, 500 comments to my videos, and there's 2 assholes. And if you focus on those 2 guys, it's crazy. And you know what? I guess my better judgment, sometimes you have done that, and they'll just say, you're an idiot, you're this, you're that, and you go, okay, well, why? And almost always the answer is, oh, sorry, man, I love what you're doing, I was just trying to get your attention. And you're like, what? Like, there's broken humans out there. And I think right now, at this point, I got 50-some thousand subscribers, and you just start doing the math. I mean, I don't know, but there has to be 1% of people are assholes. That's what's out there. So you gotta deal with those things as well. But that's such a tiny drawback. This, I mean, all you guys I've met, I've got some pretty close friends now that I've met through YouTube, whether it's other YouTubers, people that were watching the videos, the people have said we've helped them through tough times, the people that hang out with us every Saturday night on the live stream, which we, it's like going out with friends now. I mean, we can't go right now because of this whole pandemic thing. So, you know, it's changed my life for the better to no end. I've found cars and stuff like that I wouldn't have found before. The money YouTube has awarded me, which you guys, by watching and subscribing to the channel and clicking the ads and all those little things, whatever you do to support, I can't thank you enough. It's afforded me to have more cars and more expensive cars than I ever would have been able to afford with my day job. And I'm to the point now where I got too many cars. Like, what a thing to say, right? Never thought I'd be at that point where I'd have all these Tri-5 Chevys, and I got a wagon, and I got a Model A, and I got cars waiting to be built. Before, I was always building a car, I drive it for a little bit, I could generally afford the next car as a project, then I'd have to sell the car I'd finished to then get the next car on the road. And the cars would get nicer and nicer and nicer. So, you know, for the Nova, for instance, I had a 64 Beaumont, and the Nova, okay, well, you kind of fix this up, and then you flip the Beaumont to make the Nova nicer, and then you can kind of carry on down the road. And that Chevy short box, like I said, I got that going, flipped that, bought something else, and that's how it, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do that, is flipping cars. Well, now this is just kind of supercharged that. And the help and the people supporting, and like I said, just advice and all that stuff has been worth it. So I kind of rambled on there. Ultimately, that's how I started. That's my story of making it happen. That's what I do in a nutshell. Pretty much 7 days a week after work and every one of my days off, I spend in the garage and stuff like that. Danny will be floating in the pool. I'll be sweating in here or freezing in here, depending on what month it is of the year. But I love it. I wouldn't change it for anything. And if you guys are at all on the fence or have some grandiose ideas, I say go for it. You know, you never know what's going to take off and what's going to work. And that's it. So, hopefully this can help somebody. If you have any questions, like I said, concerns, leave a comment below. If you thought this was a waste of time, let me know about that. I'm fine with that. I want to redo it again. And on the flip side, if there's something I didn't cover, or you want to make this once a month thing where I can explain stuff of what I do or anything like that, please let me know. I'm open to anything. All right, well, I'll be in my trailer.